Hi everyone, welcome back to my Flosstube. My name is Rachel, this is Lemonade Stitching. Today is Valentine's Day, and so I have a special Valentine's themed Flosstube for you. So if you've watched my channel before, you'll know I typically do monthly cross-stitch updates, but I was thinking a couple weeks ago it would be fun to do a little Valentine's themed special and work on all whips that have hearts or pink or are Valentine's themed or just, you know, that kind of theme. So the last 2 weeks I have been focusing on all things pink and love and whatnot, and I'm excited to show you all those projects today. So I have a couple finishes, couple starts, one of my whips, and then I have a new knitting project to show you at the end, as well as some pink projects that are on my wish list that I need them. I absolutely need them. So let's jump in. So first up, I'll start with one of my whips that you guys have seen before. This is Summer's Day by Jet Stitch. This is what the project will look like when it's done. And this is my progress. So I picked this up a couple of times over the last couple weeks, and I really just focused on all the pink and red and purple stitching. So I focused on this big flower here and like bringing this down here and just putting in, like I said, all things pink and red and purple. So I am stitching this on the called for 40 count Dolomite with the called for floss, and I'm excited. This should be done some point this year, definitely before the summer's over. So that is, what did I say? Summer's Day by Jet Stitch. Everything else was a new start because Summer's Day is really the only pink project I had. I don't typically stitch a lot of like Valentine's themed projects, so I had to dig through my stash. There were several projects I had that I, like in the back of my mind, was like, oh, eventually I'll stitch this, eventually I'll stitch this, but I hadn't actually done it yet. So I went downstairs and pulled all those together and started kitting them up. Of the like 5-ish projects that I had that I wanted to stitch, this next one was the only one that I actually had floss and fabric that I liked for it, and that is Blackbird Designs Sweetheart Sampler. So it's a pretty small alphabet sampler by Blackbird, and it's got a big heart on the top. So I figured that was enough to get it to fit into this theme. And I ended up stitching this on a scrap piece of 36 count linen. I don't know what it is, but it's just a neutral color, and I stitched it with cherry wood dinky dyes. And it's really cute. I think it's gonna fit in like either a 5x7 or a 4x6 frame. I can't remember exactly, but I remember the dimensions working out. Let's see if it says on the card here. No, it doesn't say, but I remember that it'll stitch or fit in a standard frame, so I'm excited about that. So that is my Sweetheart Sampler, a little start and finish. Took 2 days, it was super easy, and I have plenty of floss left over. I'm pretty sure this was actually one of the Dinky Dyes mini skeins, like from their misdyed packs. And I could probably stitch this whole sampler again with the amount that's left, and that's not even the size of a full regular skein. The other projects I picked out when I went downstairs to look at my stash charts, not a single one of them could I find the right floss and fabric combinations for. I guess I just don't keep a lot of pink and red in my stash. I didn't have any of the called for DMC. I don't understand how I can have 6 bobbin boxes of DMC and not have, you know, be missing 10 colors. It just is bonkers, but that's okay. We got through it. The next project that I started that you haven't seen yet is by Fancy That, and it's called Beach Brew. I got this on Facebook D-Stash a couple months ago, I think, and I've been really excited to start it. Look how cute that girl is with her big checkerboard dress and the bright red hearts. I just think she's adorable. So I've been itching to start this, and I was like, what perfect time. So since it's like an older pattern, I wanted it to have that vintagey feel. I decided to start it on Aida. Oh, and I've got needles and thread everywhere. So I pulled out a piece of 14 count oatmeal Aida, And this is the start that I have so far. So not too much. I just got in those bright red hearts. And this is a fun one. I think this will be an easy one to do like fill in, especially on the dress. So I'll probably bring this as like a travel project over the next couple of weeks. I've got a work trip coming up. But I would have started this one earlier and gotten a little more progress in, but I didn't have the right colors downstairs. It only calls for 5 colors. So we've got black and white, obviously, and a skin tone color, and then 2 Gentle Art sampler threads. So one of them I did end up getting, and that is Pink Azalea, and this will be the lighter pink. But the other one, I didn't love the color, so I switched it for Classic Colorworks Ribbon Red. And that is what I'm using for the brighter Christmas red in here. So eventually this will be super cute. And I also was able to get some heart-shaped buttons at Stitch Therapy, my LNS, which are over here. So I've got a little assortment of buttons that I'll put on there. The glare is so bad. It's so nice out today. But I'm excited for this one. I had to make a digital copy because the chart is impossible to read. It's one of those like hand-drawn charts, but it's printed on this pink cardstock, and I'm like, how am I supposed to read that? How am I supposed to read that? So I did have to make a digital copy, but it's so easy. A pretty easy chart. So hopefully I'll be able to finish it pretty soon, and it won't have to be on the WIP list for very long. It will only take up this side of the Ada, so I'll have a little bit left over here. And I'm thinking I'm gonna put a chart from Just Cross Stitch magazine over here. So I got the winter 2025 issue for Christmas, and there is a Valentine's chart in here called Love Grows. And they're cute little like heart-shaped balloons that say love you more in their strings. And I haven't measured, but I'm just kind of assuming that they'll fit on this strip of fabric. So we'll see. I didn't end up starting this one because, again, I didn't have any of the DMC and I didn't like any of the color combinations I was picking. So that one will have to wait maybe till next year. I don't know. It'll be so quick. There's probably not more than 200 stitches in that. So it could be a good, like, when I just need a quick little start in some serotonin one weekend or something. But for now, that's on the I was going to start but didn't get around to it list. Speaking of this magazine, there is another Valentine's chart in here called Sweetheart. And this is the cover photo. And I wasn't originally loving this. It just wasn't my vibe. It wasn't speaking to me with how their colors and trim and stuff. But I saw Sarah from Stitchy Sarah Reads, I think it's that Sarah. She posted on Instagram she was making like monochromatic versions of this, like blue on blue, pink on pink, green on green. And when I saw her finish of it, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cute. Pretty simple, easy design, could be a cute little pillow or decoration for this time of year. So she convinced me. I had to stitch it. It was like 600 stitches, super easy. I counted the stitches by hand on this one, to be honest, so I could update Notion because it's so repetitive. And I ended up stitching this on some scrap fabric that I had, 36 count oyster shell with Dinky Dye's Mystic Pools, and I was able to finish it. So this color combination I actually used for Love Gains by Modern Folk Embroidery last year. And so I was like, how cute to do another little love themed project on this. Because I have a good amount of fabric left over and several skeins of Dinky Dyes left from it. So that is my little sweetheart. I'm excited. I'll definitely finish this into a little heart-shaped pillow eventually, but I don't have firm plans for that. I tend to save up all my FFOs and do like a bulk FFO weekend. So that'll just go into the project roll for now. Okay, we are flying through these. I knew this video wasn't going to be long, but I figured I would have a little more to say. The last project that I started is called Woolemina by Plum Street Samplers, and I left the cover photo downstairs, so I'll put a photo in. And this is another one that I just didn't have any of the right colors in stash. The pinks were really throwing me off. I really like the variegation in the flowers on the cover photo for this. And I didn't have any of the right overdyed pinks for this, so I was like, well, maybe I'll just pull DMC. I didn't have the called for DMC that for the conversion, so I was like, well, I'll just pull some pink DMC, it'll be fine. And I was gonna stitch it on Brown Sugar by Fiber on a Whim, and I had pulled like 602, 603, and 605, somewhere in that like pink gradient. And I got this much in, and I was like, this is just not the vibe. Like, it's just not right. It's not giving, like, the chart is so cute and so sweet, and it deserves better than how this pink and this fabric is speaking to each other. So this, I had started at 2/2 on 36 count, quickly was like, nope. I raged about it at Stitch Night a little bit, and I went shopping. I ended up getting 3 pinks. I got Classic Colorworks Rosy Glow, Weeks Dye Works Peony, and Gentle Arts Rhubarb. And I restarted on a 40 count linen, and it is looking so much better. So I still got it in the hoop. I'm super close to being done. I'd love to try and finish this in February. I've got some threads that I need to just, what is that called? Like weave under. I don't know. Words aren't really coming to me today. But I've got some threads that I need to deal with that I just couldn't weave under because they were too close to the hoop. But I'm really close to being done. I have like 1 or 2 pink colors that I need to figure out to fill in these little guys. Got to do my sheep and finish this mound of grass, and then we should be good to go. I'm really happy with how this is coming out. This fabric, oh, I forgot to put Silver Mist. It's 40 count Silver Mist by Mystic Fabrics, I think. I'll find the tag and I'll put it on the screen if it's something different. But I know it's 40 count. But I'm trying to kind of simplify the colors in here. I did end up pulling from stash for 2 greens, 2 grays, and then I started the sheep in white. It's called for in an overdye. I started in white. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do white, if I'm gonna find an overdye, or if I'm gonna try whisper thread and have a fuzzy sheep. That could be fun. Not sure, saving that for last. And then the color for this heart and these flowers, I think is Cinnamon Toast, which I definitely have several skeins of because it's called for in Blackbirds a lot. But I don't know if Cinnamon Toast will be the perfect match for the pinks that I substituted. So I'm kind of waiting for that color as well to see what I can put in there that'll work with everything. So, but that is Woolemina. Hopefully this will be a finish by the end of the month because it's so close. I think this is the bottom of the grass here, so I just have to fill in this little section. But I just think she's so cute. Before I talk knitting, I want to talk honorable mentions. So I mentioned that like balloon chart from the magazine that I intended to start but didn't get around to it. I have another chart that I found in stash that I was going to work on over the last couple of weeks, but again, I just didn't get around to it. This is called the Crystal Heart Sampler, and it's from 1995 by Dawn Lewis. This is what it looks like. I got it at our Creative Reuse shortly after I moved here, and it's a cute little circle like sampler-esque. It's got some specialty stitches, tiny bit of stitching, and there's some beads, and it was actually a kit, so it had been kitted up, I should say. So it came with a couple different silks that are called for. And then it came with beads. They're like clear beads. There goes my pattern. And it had a couple pieces of linen. So whoever had this before me had already started it actually. So they're kind of, I don't know. this is what they started. I think this one was practice, and I think this one was like the piece they were actually doing. But anyway, I pulled this out to work on. Oh, and then it has a backing piece of light pink. Oh my god, I'm dropping everything. And it also came with lots of instructions, like a band sampler, you know, it went through band 1, band 2, band 3, and how to stitch them, and has stitch guides and all the things. And I was looking at this a couple weekends ago when I was getting all this together, and I was like, there's no way I have the mental capacity for this right now. We'll try again in a couple days, and I just never got back around to it. So this is one that I still really, really want to stitch. Eventually, I've got it in my stash. I would love to do it. It's so small. I just need to be able to like sit down and focus on it. So that is the Crystal Heart sampler. Maybe Sunday I'll get around to that. I bet I could do it in like one weekend if I just sat down and really focused, like sat down at the table rather than on the couch and wasn't watching something while also trying to do the specialty stitches and stuff. I think the biggest holdup for me was just trying to sort through like what the previous person had done and make sure it was correct and all that. So that is one sampler that I didn't get around to starting. The other projects that I wanted to say in this video as an honorable mention are all 3 of Kathy Barrick's Nashville releases. She has more than 3, but I mean specifically her 3 pink projects. Let me get my phone so I can tell you the actual names of them, because if you're not insane and crazy for Kathy Barrick, you might not know what I'm talking about. They are Dot the Bird, Quaker Hearts, and Mystic Moon. I'm obsessed with all 3 of those. I need them all in my life. Probably gonna wait till she does PDFs of those because I don't need them immediately, but I definitely want them all. I would like to start Mystic Moon, the larger version, for Strawberry Moon Sal this year. Who else agrees that that needs to happen? And the other ones I just want, period. Fun fact about all 3 of these charts is they're all on the same fabric, 40 count Thornfield by Needle and Flax. And while I was searching Lindy Stitch's Nashville updates, I saw another Quaker sampler by Old Willow Stitchery that is also called for on 40 count Thornfield. So I may or may not be buying a yard of 40 count Thornfield. We'll have to see what happens there, but I couldn't do a pink Valentine's Flosstube update without mentioning all 3 of these amazing new charts from Kathy Barrick. They're just chef's kiss. I am obsessed. So that is all the cross stitch, but like I said, I did have one new knitting start. I started a new pair of socks. This is the Trop Le Monde socks by Summer Lee in her sock project book. So here is the cover photo. Look how cute. They're so Valentine's. They use a slip stitch technique, and it like makes little V's, and it's super cute. And I had seen it when I originally flipped through that book, and I was like, that would make good Valentine's Day socks. Didn't think much of it, and then Cam from Cam the Stitcher showed a shawl or a cowl or something in her previous Flosstube that used that same technique, and I was like, well, it's a sign, I have to start the socks. So I was gonna buy yarn to match like pink and red like in the photo, but then I was going through my stash and I remembered I had hot pink yarn left over from socks that I pulled out and I had a couple skeins of white sock yarn, so I just did hot pink and white. So I only got through this much of the first sock and I haven't worked on them in a little bit, but it's got a hot pink 2x1 cuff, and then it starts these stripes, and you can see these are like the V's that I was talking about. So it's got hot pink and white stripes. It'll have hot pink contrast heel and toe as well. And then on the foot, it has like just stockinette stripes on the bottom, and then you continue the V technique across the top of the foot. So these are super cute. Like I said, haven't worked on them in a little bit. I'm probably not gonna bring these on my trip next week, only because they take slightly more brain power to remember, like to do the slip stitches and stuff. So yeah, they probably won't be coming on my trip. I did get some just like basic or another like solid skein of yarn to do some vanilla socks on my upcoming work trip, but I just thought these are so cute. I need to get back to these. Maybe I'll knit on these later. Like, look at that. It's so fun and so hot pink. So those are my V-Day socks. I'm using Malabrigo sock yarn. What are the colors? I think it's fuchsia and natural Malabrigo sock yarn. So that's like one of the basic brands that my local yarn store carries. They sell it for like $22 a skein, so one of the cheapest yarns in there, or cheapest sock yarns. So that's usually my go-to if they have a color that I like. But I am trying something new for my next pair of socks, so you'll have to watch one of my upcoming Flosstubes to see when I cast that on and how I feel about it. But that is everything that I have for this little Valentine's pink hearts themed Flosstube update. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great Valentine's Day, no matter who you're celebrating with. Give yourself some love, go tell someone else that you love them, and I will see you all in my next Flosstube. In case anyone's wondering what I asked for Valentine's Day, it was McDonald's Sprite. Graham and I were going to bed last night, and I was like, you know what I could really go for Valentine's Day? You know what I like really, really want above anything else? A McDonald's Sprite. So that is what he got me this morning. It was like 10 o'clock, and I was like, will you please go get it now? And he's like, you want it now? I was like, yeah. I need it. I need the McDonald's Sprite flowing through my veins. And let me tell you, it's delicious.